Hello everybody, this is Dedra with Paper Crafts and Planners, and so I wanted to tell you a little bit about Pinners Conference that I just went to in Dallas, Texas a few days ago. Now, if you don't know what Pinners Conference is, it's put on at 4 or 5 different locations around the US every year. This is the second one I've been to. 2 years ago I went to it. It was in the Dallas area, but it was in Arlington, I believe, at the time, at a totally different location. This year it was at the K. Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center, and which meant it was a bigger area, but we also shared it with 2 other conferences, and it was not my favorite location. I'm going to say that right off the bat. There were a lot of things I would have changed. However, it still was a great conference and a lot of great vendors, a lot of great presenters, a lot of great classes. It was sponsored this year by Home Depot and Michaels. And let me show you. So Home Depot gave out some little things like these little to-do pads and this bag that they were calling a makeup bag, but I have some pins in here. It's kind of a burlap feeling. And then you could sit down and make these little, these are tiles, and they had Sharpies, and you could just sit down and make them. And they had a wall you could put them on, but they said at the end of the day they were just going to throw them all away, or the end of the conference. So I brought mine home. I thought I'd put it in the craft room. So anyway, I liked it. It was cute. And then I also took another class with them. So the great thing about when you have a sponsor, a big company like this, is anything you make that or get from them is all freebie, you know, included in the cost of attending. For me, I did a ticket that was $48, and it included 2 days with unlimited classes. So as many classes as you could fit in to the day. And it started at 10 or 11 each day, and then the last class would end around 6:30. So, and they ran every 30 minutes. So you've got quite a few classes if you wanted to take them all. I took a break to shop a little bit, but anyway, so anything that Home Depot and Michaels did, the supplies were included. And I haven't put it together yet because there just weren't enough power tools to go around, but there was this awesome shelf with a chalkboard background, and so it hung on the wall. It's like almost like a plaque with a chalkboard and a shelf and some little hooks. And so I'm going to be putting that together, but I haven't done that yet. And it's pretty good size. It's going to go, I think I'm going to put it in the foyer once I get it decorated the way I want. So that was nice. All of that was included, and I just brought mine home to put together. Then for Michaels, the only one of their classes that I took was this art journal one. And so they gave you the art journal, and then we did something on the cover. They gave you some papers and some stencils to use and everything. And this is all I brought home because you got your own stencils, but there was another lady there at our table. You know, there were paints, and then I brought home this white pen because I'd never have enough Jelly Roll white pens. But she didn't have anything at home, any craft supplies. So we let her take the paints and things home. And the paints were sponsored by another company that is not computing for me right now. But these are some papers that I have left over. So these are just Recollection scrapbook papers, which is the Michaels brand that they brought. And I used this one here and then brought the others home. But you can see I splattered some paint and I did some different things. They were different paints for us to use. Some white and some chalkboard black and all sorts of stuff. But I'm very excited, and I purchased some other things and made some other things that I'm going to be including in this art journal as soon as I get around to working in it. So there are the 2 things from the sponsors. I went to another class, and it was put on by the lady who runs the Carrie L blog, and I will link to that below. But this, you can find this at shop.carriel.com, and this is her blogging planner. And if you took her class, you could purchase this plus a coupon code for a discount off her printables for $20 if you were in her class. So I thought that was really good. So this is what it looks like. I'll kind of go through it really quickly. Your blog stats, it has a section for that, and notes. It has important dates for 12 months and content ideas for 12 months. And I've written in these months. They weren't in here. And then it has your months, and again, I've started decorating this already, and then your weeks, so they look like that. She said these are your 3 important things. For me, they'll probably be the things that go live. I'm not sure exactly, or appointments, how I'll use that. But this is going to be strictly, it may not be something I show very often because it's going to be strictly for mapping out my business stuff. And these are goals and dreams and when you want to publish your blog post checklist, and this comes with every month. Income and expenses for the month, and then it goes on to the next month. And you have the same thing. And it's blank, so you can start it, I mean undated, not blank. Undated, so you can start it whenever you want. And then each one has the monthly goals, the blog post checklist, the sponsored posts, all of that. Now, I don't just have a blog. I have a YouTube. I have a lot of things. My blog has been sitting pretty stagnant. And so I'm going to, hopefully this will get me jump started. But I love that she reminds you where you're going to promote your content. Where else are you going to share it? So that's really good. And at the end, it just has some note sheets. But it's a really pretty, I'm not a huge fan of bound planners like this because I like to add and take away, you know, as I want. But the good thing about this is this will be my mapping out my ideas, and then I'll probably have everything in a combined planner for my whole life. But this will be planning my business, and I really like that idea. So, and she gave a great talk on how to get your blog going, how to get sponsors, all that kind of thing. So I really enjoyed that class. Okay, let's see. I took a watercolor with Tombow markers and a watercolor lettering class. Let me just tell you, I need a lot more practice with this. It was not that easy for me. Let's see, where does this open up at? But I wanted to show you some of the things. Each class had a kit that you could purchase, unless it was Michael's or Home Depot, because there's, you know, which is free kits. But, so I didn't purchase every kit. If my daughter went, and then I had a friend that went with us, and then another friend I met up there. But sometimes, so like these were my watercolor brushes. So sometimes there was a kit that I already had all these Tombow markers. I have more than I ever use. And I already had watercolor brushes, but the only thing in the kit that I didn't have was this paper. So my daughter and I bought the kit together. She kept the Tombow markers and different things that I already had, and then we both used the paper. So this is how it was supposed to look. This is how mine ended up looking. I guess not too bad for my first try, but really I did not get the handle of how much water to add when she had us add yellow to the leaves that were green, and this paper is nice, so I'm going to look into getting more of this paper. And this was cool also. So she had us take and try different techniques with our markers, and then take the different markers and blend them together and see the colors that we would get, which I never do that with my Tombows. Really they've been sitting because I thought I would use them so much in my planner and I would get really good at that brush lettering, and that never happened. So I'm really looking forward to, in my art journal that now I have from Michael's, really practicing this and getting better at that. Okay, and this was a watercolor lettering. Oh, and this was by the Tombow people. There was a Tombow booth there also. So this is another thing that we tried out, and I didn't even open this, but this is a watercolor in a little compact cube, which I'm looking forward to using. There was a paintbrush. There was this to put water and kind of spray it on what you were doing. Get this little palette here. This brush here, which is a brush pen. So look at that. And I love this color. Isn't that beautiful? So we received that. And again, I think this kit was around $20, $25. And then ink that came in this liquid form. And we sort of played around. And again, I clearly need a whole lot of help with, but she had us basically practicing strokes and then trying to put words together. And I came home with this little booklet. So I'm excited about that. Letters by Shells. So that was the lady who did this. And she talked a lot about being a lady that just was working an office job and hating it, but took up watercolor and brush lettering and different lettering because it was something that she just fell in love with and thought was relaxing. So her name is Shelly. There she is. And I will link to her blog or whatever she has below so you can see all of her things that she has. But she was really sweet. She did. And then I did a little shopping. Oh, I did a make and take. There were make and takes around. Here was the one that I did from Michael's. They had these little pom-pom makers out, and I do have a pom-pom maker, and some leaves, and I did this the very last thing of the day, so all that were left were these humongous leaves and things, but I think it turned out really cute, the little pumpkin, so I may make some more. I do have a pom-pom maker, so I may make some more of those. This was at a little table next to a booth, and you decorated these pockets. You kind of punched a little hole, and then they had all these supplies, these vellum stickers and some ink and stamps and all sorts of things and washi that you could decorate these little pockets with. And I think this is going to go in my art journal also. And this was from the Little Craft Place, I believe it's called, in Houston, Texas, in Spring, Texas, so north side. And I will link to their shop below. But after I made this, I went and looked around their shop and just fell in love with some of these things. So these are vellum stickers, and let me show you how gorgeous they are. So they have a sticky back that peels off. Really gorgeous. And also, if you're in this area, if you're in the Houston area, I will link to their shop for sure, but also because they are doing, so you just take the backing off. Look at these, how gorgeous they are. They are having an open house. They just moved to a bigger location in Spring, which is north side of Houston, and they are having an open house with lots of free make and takes all day in October. So I will link to that. But look at these. Oh my gosh, they're so beautiful. Just gorgeous. And they had a ton of gorgeous things, which I couldn't purchase all of them, of course. And then I purchased this washi tape, that these clocks that are on this little pocket that I made. And then these little vintage, they call them Mo cards, advertisement cards and retro notes, but they're gorgeous also. And are these sticky? No, they're not sticky, but those two are just stuck together. But look at these, how gorgeous. They also had the ladies that you see on the old patterns. Had some of those, and they had some tags. It was really hard to choose, and I kept thinking, oh, I need to go back and get the other one, but I didn't. This is Glamour Girl. Just think that is so cute. Okay, so this was one shop that was there. There were a lot of shops, but I'm just showing you the crafty ones because a lot of them were really aggressive people selling hair straighteners and things, and I don't have much hair, so they didn't bother me, but I avoid those places. Overpriced things that are supposed to be miraculous. Okay, so this is Pebeo, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but these are drawing gum markers and drawing gum, the liquid. I'm sure there's a brush in here, or you use it with a brush. Let me see. Yes, you use it with a brush. So what you do with this is when you want to mask things off, you would paint with this, and then you could do your watercolor over or whatever, and this will rub off and pull up afterwards, and you've got a resist area. So they had, it was 15 or 16 if you bought the 3 together at the show. So this one that you can use with a paintbrush, this one with a thin tip, and you can see how thin that tip is, and then this one with a wide tip. Now again, these are replacement tips, so they come with that tip in there, and then you have one replacement tip. But there are some little instructions in here on how to use it. They did have a make and take, but they were very busy, and I didn't get to do that. I understood the concept, so I wasn't too worried. But I really think this is awesome. And so as I play with it in my art journal, I'll be sure and show you how this works, because I'm really looking forward to that. Card making, all sorts of things I can think of to do with this. I'm excited by that. So these are the things I came home with, besides like tote bags and other little freebies and things that of course we purchased and brought home. Overall, I would say if you like crafting, and by the way, there was sewing, there was some food classes. My daughter took a few of those. Just all sorts of things. Not everything I was interested in. I took lettering. I took a blogging class. I took how to make money selling your crafts online. Things like that I didn't come home with anything to show you. But I did make a few things. So I think that overall it was a great time. For the money, $48, and you can take, I think, like 10 or 12 classes if you wanted to. And then that got you entrance into the vendor's shopping area too. I think it was a great deal. The downside of this one was the Kay Bailey Hutchinson had a parking fee of $15 a day. So what we did is we drove in from Houston, we stayed at a hotel, and they had a free shuttle that took us over, every day, so we didn't have to mess with paying $15 for parking. And we also didn't have to find a parking spot or worry about being late. Pulled us up to the door and we walked to the area with the classes. It also, there was some other conferences. One of them, the people were pretty rude and pretty loud, and they didn't take into consideration. They would, standing at Starbucks, they would cut in line, just things like that, that made the Kay Bailey not as nice as when we had it at the Arlington area. That was the only thing going on, was pinners at the time. But it seems like they've taken the feedback and they're going to be changing it up next year. They're not going to do it at the Kay Bailey again. So that was a great deal. Anyway, overall, a great time. And if pinners comes to your area, I would highly recommend going. They really put on a good show, a good time for everybody, and a lot of great classes. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching, and happy crafting.